everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here at the First Alert Desk on Atlanta News First Plus. We are continuing to follow what was over the weekend a cybersecurity incident out of Fulton County. Now, if you were with us over the weekend, we first reported this to you over our air on Atlanta News First. And just to catch you up, for those that haven't been following this, this was a widespread system outage for the Fulton County government, which we saw continuing impacts all the way through the weekend, some of which are still being felt today. The county's phone system, the court system, and the tax system were among some of those impacted. Now, where we are today, we're hearing of an investigation by authorities with no time frame on when services are expected to be restored. I wanted to bring on a cybersecurity expert to talk about all of this and just give you additional context, getting you ready and prepared to protect yourself online and in the cyber world. Joining me now is Justin Daniels with Baker Donaldson Law Firm. Excuse me. Justin, thank you so much for joining us here today. How are you doing?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I really appreciate your expertise given the situation and the news that's come out. A lot of people hear cybersecurity incident and they don't really know what to make of that. Hearing about what has happened recently with Fulton County Government Services, is this cause for concern?
Well, I think you're in the early stages of an investigation that appears to have ramifications from a cybersecurity perspective. The fact that the FBI is involved makes you want to consider whether or not this is, in fact, a ransomware event. The challenge that you have is in the first 48 to 72 hours of a cyber event, you're really struggling to get your investigation going, figure out what's going on, and you have to be very careful in your communications with the public because this is like the weather in Colorado. Facts can change hourly, and if you say too much or you say something that turns out to be wildly inaccurate, you lose credibility really quickly.
And let's talk about some of what was said here. I want to read this statement from Fulton County officials saying, quote, while most Fulton County offices are open, certain transaction types may be limited during this outage, including transactions using the property tax transactions and the justice system. These include firearms, marriage licenses. Other offices will be limited. And then they go on to say customers may also purchase motor vehicle renewals through kiosks at certain retail locations. So a lot of detail there. But one thing that they talked about during a news conference was that they weren't aware of any transfer of sensitive information for residents or county employees, and that was top of mind for a lot of people. They heard about this and they were wondering, where is my information? Is it now compromised? What do you have to say about that?
So, as I said before, they've made a statement. There'll be an ongoing investigation. So it could be that that statement could change or stay the same. But if you're a consumer listening to this, outside of this event, and let's be honest, as great as Atlanta has become as a number one technology city, we're also kind of the data breach highway. We've had our fair share of high profile hacks.
Justin, do you still hear us? All right, I do believe we might have lost Justin there. We are going to take a break here, troubleshoot some things. We'll be back here momentarily as we continue this conversation on Fulton County's recent cybersecurity incident. More importantly, what you should do to protect yourself online. All right, and I do believe we have Justin Daniels back with us. A bit of a technical issues, but that is how you know we're live here on Atlanta News First Plus. Justin, I believe we were talking about this cybersecurity incident and now the ongoing response to investigate that. You mentioned this is not necessarily a unique issue, something that you've certainly seen over your years. Talk to me a little bit about what people should understand and take away from all of this.
I think what they should take away is you now have to start treating your digital life much like you treat the valuables in your house by locking the door and really doing some real basic types of cyber hygiene. And that means usernames with your password, have a password manager. And even if you have a password manager with different kinds of passwords, for certain really sensitive accounts, have on top of that like a phrase that you know, so that if someone were to hack your password manager, they still wouldn't have your password, because we now live in a digital world and these breaches are becoming commonplace because the data is really valuable and threat actors and cyber criminals want to get at that data. So that means you really have to shift your mindset to say, how can we make our security and our privacy kind of what we do every day, like we put on our seatbelt. And that's where people have to really shift their mindset. And you have to be careful about what you put out on social media. When you broadcast your birthday, hey, a threat actor can pick that up and use that as a potential way to call up your medical provider and have your birth date and be able to access your records.
Any digital resources that people can access or connect with just to get more educated or more informed on their own cybersecurity and cyber safety?
I think SC Magazine is a good cybersecurity resource, or typing into Google best cybersecurity practices. Those are great, but it really comes from people really deciding that I'm going to shift my mindset and really be thoughtful about what I put online. Like, for example, the next time you go to a restaurant, they're like, hey, we'll give you a receipt digitally. Can you give us your email? And you have to decide, well, do I want to give them an email to get this receipt? Because what do they want to do with my email? Market to me, but now this company also has my email, and if what if they're hacked? Now somebody has access to my email. What else that could potentially compromise me? That's where these practices really are dependent upon this shift in your mindset.
I know we got cut off there a little bit as we were working to get our connection back. Any final thoughts or advice you have, especially taking it back to this cybersecurity incident that really had a lot of people with questions, concerns, understandably so, for their own personal safety?
I think when it comes to data privacy, when people ask for your private information, you have to think about it and maybe just say, no, I'm not going to give you that information. And then I think when it comes to cybersecurity, you really have to think about, how am I going to start to protect myself like I do with a seatbelt, and really think about cybersecurity being the digital seatbelt of the 21st century.
Certainly, I couldn't have said that better myself. Justin Daniels with the Baker Donaldson Law Firm. Thank you so much for joining us, for offering your expertise. Of course, you can go online to learn more about this cybersecurity incident and all of the latest developments and updates that we have for you on AtlantaNewsFirst.com.